everyone, and welcome to a brand new TVG Talk. My name is Paco Treviño, and today I'm joined by Lauro Chapa.
Hey guys.
And today we'll be discussing or speculating about some of the upcoming Nintendo Switch games that we are yet to know more of. Maybe we have a title screen, maybe we have some leak information, but nothing really concrete. So today we'll be discussing about those, focusing mostly on Metroid Prime 4, the brand new Pokemon for the Nintendo Switch, Fire Emblem, and speculate about maybe one or two possible games that will be coming up. Laura, why don't we begin with Metroid Prime 4?
Sure.
At E3 we saw, a brief animation of space, the Screw Attack logo, and the Metroid Prime 4 tease. So,
Yeah.
what did you think about what we have heard ever since? That it will be making next year, for example.
Yeah, we heard that the next year we'll probably be getting it. I think that calmed a lot of people down because at E3 we didn't get an exact date, and now people are like, okay, we're getting it next year probably. So that's a good sign to me. And yeah, this was one of the most anticipated games of all time, and we're all excited for it.
Yeah, I think that it's great news to know that at least for now the date that they have estimated is within 2018. I'm willing to bet it's probably holiday 2018, which
Yeah,
is
probably.
still half a year and a half away is not that much, honestly. And it's actually very soon. I would be pleasantly surprised if they indeed make that due date.
Yeah.
But let's leave the date to the side for a little bit, and let's focus on the game itself. Seeing how Metroid Prime has evolved from the GameCube to the Wii, what enhancements do you think we might be seeing on the Nintendo Switch?
I think this game is going to focus very much on how the Switch works, in that it has the two Joy-Cons. I think it will have a great advantage in that, maybe pointing with one and moving with the other, or some kind of mechanism like that. Or maybe now that we have two joysticks, two big ones, maybe it can be like other FPSs where you move with one and point with the other. Yeah, I think the team will take advantage of all the hardware that the Switch has to offer.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. They will very likely exploit the Joy-Cons, especially with the Metroid Prime Trilogy release, where the two GameCube titles were remastered for the Wii with full motion controls. So I think that Metroid Prime will go forward with this, and like you were saying, the Joy-Cons have enough enhancements for it to feel fresh, with the two joysticks, and I think that with two Joy-Cons you get a lot of more control options, more buttons and more technology with the camera and stuff. So maybe this game will definitely. Well, I'm sorry, maybe definitely no. It will probably take those into account and exploit them.
Yeah.
And obviously visually it will look very, much better than before. But something that I want to ask you about, it's, for example, on the level design and whatnot, because a lot of the doors and a lot of the hallways were made or put into the GameCube and Wii titles for hardware limitations. Do you think that maybe we might see a different level design in the Switch with more power?
I haven't thought of that. Yeah, maybe we even get more open areas. Maybe like, I don't know, exploring whole planets that are not limited to like spaceships or things like that. Maybe that could be something they could explore now.
Oh, it would be very interesting, to explore multiple planets. I remember that they explored something like that with Metroid Prime 3, if I'm not mistaken, where you could go to different areas with your ship. But it wasn't quite like every area had its gimmick. It wasn't quite like a whole new world every time.
Yeah.
So maybe yeah, they could really expand upon that. And something that I'm hoping to see is a more cinematic experience, for the lack of a better
Yeah.
word. Something that Metroid Prime has always nailed, what is storytelling without words or
Yeah.
with a few text lines or something like that. And I really hope that they are able to really expand upon that,
I think
bring
they are.
that. Yeah.
I think they're like with other M. They took like the story. They opened it a lot more, and I think that they will learn from that, and also maybe from their mistakes that they had, and will apply it to this one.
Yeah, let's hope that other M's shortcomings are, uh, the first priority to not happen again here.
Sure.
And actually, it could also learn a few things from Other M. I know that a lot of fans will criticize me for saying that, but Other M did do a few things right. For example, visually, it was gorgeous. I think that it's the best
Mhm.
looking 3D Metroid.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Maybe that art style could fit into HD. I do know
Mhm.
that the cinematics were in HD, but rendered down to the Wii resolution.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe those type of things could could be taken into account.
Mhm.
Now with a lot of less baby dialogue and a lot of less victimization, things that are
Mhm.
maybe like that. That's why I specifically thought in my mind like no dialogue, please. Like
Yeah.
visual storytelling only.
Sure.
Uh,
What about the story? I didn't play Other M, so I didn't. I don't know if that takes place like right after Metro Prime 3 or what happened there. But I don't know. What do you think that will happen in the fourth one? Will it pick up right after 3, or maybe it's maybe something before or a lot after?
Well, in terms of story, the way that the Metroid series goes is that the four 2D ones are in perfect order.
Mm-hmm.
Metroid, Metroid 2, Super Metroid, and Fusion. They are in
Yeah.
perfect. Then the Metroid Prime trilogy is also in perfect. It's 1, 2, and 3.
Uh
Now
huh.
they are intertwined, kind of funny. It's Metroid 1, then Metroid Prime 1. Then, if I'm not mistaken, is Metroid, Prime 2 and 3. Then Metroid
Mm-hmm.
2, then Super Metroid, then Other M, then Fusion.
Okay.
And bear with me for a second in this.
Sure.
And Federation Force is the only other game in the canon. If I know, and
Uh
Hunters.
huh.
Hunters, I think, was after 2. That's not really important, but what is important in this case is that Metroid Prime 3 was sort of Samus' last adventure that we've seen, but in Federation Force, she does make a cameo, and sort of the context tells you that it's happening soon after Metroid Prime 3.
Okay.
And actually, there's a cliffhanger in Federation Force.
Mm.
And I know that this is important
Oh, that's right.
because a lot of fans of Metroid did not give that game a chance. That's
Mm-hmm.
okay, you do you,
Mm-hmm.
everyone out there. But
Yeah.
that game did leave a cliffhanger that could come into the plot of
Oh,
Metroid
interesting.
Prime 4. So,
Yeah.
from what we've heard, it could be, very, very tied in terms of the story to the previous Metroid Prime games.
Mm. Interesting.
Yeah, so Other M and Fusion are still the two sort of latest games in the canon.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, actually, Fusion ends in the way that it makes me really want to know what happens after. But
Yeah.
whatever, another time, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah.
with the if I'm not mistaken, uh, the cliffhanger in 3 was about Dark Samus, so maybe
Mm-hmm.
she could make a comeback there, in Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
And I don't know, let's see how that story goes. I mean, in my opinion, Metroid Prime every time got crazier and crazier, so let's see if Metroid Prime 4 is sort of watering down or if it's going even crazier
Yeah.
moving
We
forward.
shall see.
And I don't know, what features do you think that they might be bringing to the table? Do you see them including multiplayer?
I hope they do because I don't think any Prime had it, or did they?
Yes, they had multiplayer in 2 and in Trilogy. It was
Oh, right.
sort of, like it is in every FPS, where you can
Sure.
run around and shoot each other.
Yeah, because I played a lot of the multiplayer in Hunters, and I really enjoyed it. And I think multiplayer these days, like either games focus only on multiplayer or they focus only on single player. And I hope this game focuses on both because it's a lot of fun, like having lots of Samuses chasing each other and shooting each other down.
Yeah, actually, now that you were mentioning Hunters, Hunters was a sort of spin-off for the DS for those out there who don't know. And in my opinion, that has the best multiplayer in the series. Like, even better than Echoes and better than the trilogy. I do think that they could really learn from that one and really, really, go out there with it.
Yeah,
Make it online and everything. It would be fantastic, honestly.
it sure would.
And yeah, I hope that they bring multiplayer, like you were saying. And I don't know, I would like them if they added also, maybe amiibo support. Even if it's minor, it's always nice.
Yeah, I think these days big Nintendo games are almost guaranteed to have amiibo support.
Well, not exactly. I mean, especially with AAA titles, we've seen, Xenoblade Chronicles really stepping away from amiibo, and Tokyo Mirage Sessions also did. I mean, that's not AAA, but I'm sorry, you were saying?
No, no.
Okay. So yeah, I see them really, going crazy with the small features at least, because this game feels very much like a fan service thing.
Yeah.
So let's hope that they add a lot into that. So maybe a controversial topic in terms of Metroid Prime, but I don't know. Do you see them, if they ever release VR for the Switch? Do you see them implementing it into Metroid Prime?
I don't know if they would, because maybe in a new one. I don't know if they go the route of like Bethesda, that they're making VR games out of their old games, like Skyrim and Fallout. I don't know if they would do that. Maybe they have it ready when Metroid Prime comes out. Metroid Prime 4, I mean. But yeah, I think that if the Switch gets VR, I'm pretty sure Metroid Prime will be one of the first games to be featured in that.
Yeah, I mean it's perfect for it, isn't it? Like Metroid has always been all about immersion and isolation, and VR is perfect for that.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's in first person, just it's
Yeah, it's a perfect
done.
fit.
Yeah, and even more so with the inclusion of motion controls.
Yeah, totally.
So everything seems to be checking there.
The Switch is ready for it.
Yep, definitely. So, well, I don't know. Anything else that you might think that might? I'm sorry. Anything else that you think that might be coming to Metroid Prime 4 on the Switch?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay, so why don't we go to the next game in the lineup?
Sure.
Pokemon, the brand new Pokemon for Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Literally, all we know about it is that it's a mainline.
It's a game.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a main Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch. So why don't we start with our speculation by opening with whether it's going to be an existing region, maybe Alola, maybe finally getting the Sinnoh re-releases, maybe a brand new region. I don't know. Where do you think this game might be taking place?
I felt like when they said it, I think they were talking about like completely new generation, but I don't know because I'm feeling also a Sinnoh remake. I really don't know what to think. I'm just excited for there to be a mainline Pokemon game on a home console again.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that it took making the home console portable for Pokemon to finally jump into home consoles,
Totally.
Like, jeez. I don't know. In terms of the region, I'm personally thinking that they will either go with a remake of a previous generation or with a brand new one, because we are already seeing the sequels to Sun and Moon on the 3DS.
Yeah.
So I really don't see them making, another re-release of that.
It will be too much. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like, too much, like you said. So I think that we're either getting the Xeno re-releases that everyone has been speculating forever now,
Yeah.
or if they go really, really crazy, a remake of the first generation. I mean,
That could maybe be it.
yeah, maybe. And, I think that it would make sense as sort of a, new beginning for the series. Starting just like the handhelds did, the same region. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm getting too poetic here. And gameplay wise, what do you see them maybe keeping, maybe changing, What do you see them doing?
I don't see them changing it a whole lot. I think that with Sun and Moon it was a big jump. So big that it had performance issues on both the 3DS and new Nintendo 3DS. So the first thing I'm expecting is to not have any performance issues. I'm expecting it to look amazing, and I don't know, maybe local multiplayer, maybe like the Stadium and those games. We have 2 Joy-Cons in each Switch. Maybe it will be perfect for it.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Taking advantage of the multiplayer aspect of coming into a home console, yeah, that would make a lot of sense to me. Some mini games.
Yeah, mini games would be great.
Yeah, they don't even have to be new ones. They could remaster what was already in the Stadium games, and that would be it. That would be
People,
set.
yeah, they will love it.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree with you. Performance issues should be a thing of the past, and graphically, I think that it could look similar because because I've seen some footage of the 3D models of the Pokemon before the compression for the 3DS.
Yeah.
And they look great. Like they seriously don't need to change the
They don't need
current
to
art
change.
style. Yeah, it looks perfect. Just make it HD and you're good to go. And personally, something that I would like to see is in the distribution of how you traverse through every place and whatnot. Just like I mentioned with Metroid Prime, to see it more fluid, less load screens, less things that sort of make the world feel like sectioned or segmented. Something to make it feel more natural and whatnot.
Yeah.
And something that I would also like to see them is maybe beef up a little bit on either the story mode for it to be longer, or for there to be more content in terms of single player, because something that I have never really been a huge fan of in terms of the Pokemon games is that aside from maybe Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I feel that the campaign is a little bit too short. For handhelds it's okay, but for a home console I think that they could really maybe make it a little longer.
Yeah.
Sun and Moon, I beat it very, very, with very few game hours.
Sure.
I was actually kind of surprised, like, oh, I'm already with the final, like the cover legendary, so I'm already almost beating the game.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit too short, and that's something that I really liked about Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. The whole Delta episode.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I want them to do here. Expand the story further, and yeah, that's it. What else do you see them implementing? Maybe amiibo support. Maybe what do you see them bringing to the table now?
I don't know how they could take advantage of amiibo support. Maybe like Breath of the Wild does with non-Legend of Zelda amiibos, that it gives you items and sort of things like that. Maybe they could do something like that. They could go really crazy and like have some megastones for each different amiibo. But I don't think they will do much with it, really.
Well, if they did something similar to what they did with the e-reader cards, just a little context. The e-reader cards for the Game Boy Advance unlocked you things like mini games or a Pokemon with a particular attack that wasn't available anywhere else. You know, little things like that. So maybe the amiibo, if they opted for amiibo cards, they could do something like that. If they were figurines, I think it would be a little bit harder, like to pick which ones to make and whatnot. I guess that if like the starters of the game or maybe some legendaries, I don't know. But yeah, little things like that would be rather nice for amiibo collectors out there.
Sure.
And well, I don't know. Do you see them making this a single release, or do you see them keeping the double format?
That's right. I think they'll keep the double format forever. That's always worked for them. I mean, Sun and Moon was the best-selling Pokemon game, and it broke lots of records. I don't think they're stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, the thing that made me doubt was the fact that that this is a home console release and it's going to probably be $60 instead of 40. So I guess that made me question it, like what route are they going? But yeah, I guess that they have no reason to leave the double format as of now.
Yeah.
They are making the big bucks with whatever it is they're doing, you know. So yeah, that makes sense. Do you see them adding some cross compatibility outside of Pokemon Bank with previous games?
I hope they would, because I think people would really get pissed off, you know, if it happened. Like, okay, we're gonna start from zero, you know. I think people wouldn't like that. I think they would like to keep their Pokemon coming to the next and next generations. I do see them implementing that. A really cool thing that I don't think it would happen, but I would love them to do is maybe crossplay between Sun and Moon.
Oh yeah.
Or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. That would be, but like actual battles, you know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think that I was misunderstood or I didn't explain myself well. But I was actually asking that. I said, you know, Pokemon Bank. I think it's a given because they make good money out of that. But yeah, like you were saying, maybe some crossplay or some cross compatibility outside of.
I think people would love that, you know, because Sun and Moon, you know how we were saying, best game sold and all the records and whatever. Lots of people have it, so it will be a great idea to do.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if they keep a similar format in terms of fighting and whatnot. And even more so if it's a remake of something older. Because if there's a brand new generation, maybe, you know, rendering it for the 3DS and whatnot could be a pain.
Yeah, it would be hard.
But if it's, you know, Pokemon Stars, like people have been suggesting, or the Sinnoh remakes, I think that those would be easier to implement.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they would go with a route like that for those two reasons. And like you were saying, a ton of people have Sun and Moon. Like, god damn, you know. Insane figures.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything else that you think they might be adding to Pokemon on the Switch?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, so why don't we go to Fire Emblem? They actually announced it early this year that it's coming in 2018. They have not changed that date, which makes me a little bit happy because, you know, Fire Emblem is a complex game, so maybe they could change the date at any time. But, you know, so far it's no changes. Good news.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, what do you think that they might be adding to the home console Fire Emblem, which we have not seen since Path of Radiance? I mean, sorry, Radiant Dawn for the Wii. So, what do you think that they might be adding or bringing back or whatever?
I think they might be adding like full on voiced scenes, and like full how do I say this, like in the portable games, there's occasions where you have like two characters like just conversing, but it's just a picture and you read text. I think that with the Switch release, you will have everything voiced and animated. That will be, I think that will happen.
Yeah, and that would line up with the more story-driven focus that they mentioned earlier, like a few months after the original announcement. They did
Yeah.
mention something about that, so yeah, that would make a lot of sense. And you know, I've been playing a lot of Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, and yeah, I've noticed that they went a lot of way further from the text-based conversations. I mean, everything is fully voice acted, which I really liked. But they
Oh, nice.
also, if I'm not seeing things, they did add a lot of cutscenes,
Okay.
pre-rendered ones,
Sure.
and like way more than they had in Fates or
Mm.
Awakening. Actually, it's close to Fates if you take into account the three versions, but
All right.
like one continuous story, I think that Echoes has the most, and also a lot of in-engine scenes, like little fighting scenes or something. They added a few of those, which they were very very limited before, and I think that it has to do a lot with the improved models. But I think that they could really take that further with Fire Emblem on the Switch. And
Yeah.
if the game looks good enough, they don't even have to add pre-rendered cutscenes. Everything could be in engine, and
Mm.
we've seen that really work for some games.
Sure.
So why not try those?
Hmm.
I mean, I guess it depends on the art style and everything, but yeah, I think that we will be seeing a very complex game in that area.
Yeah.
And do you see them mixing up the formula like they did with Gaiden, now Fire Emblem Echoes, or do you see them going back to a more traditional gameplay, or like maybe Awakening or Binding Blade?
Yeah, I think for this first one in the Switch, I don't know if there's gonna be more. I would say there will, but yeah, I think for the first one they will stick with the more classic formula.
Yeah, like the Grand Return of Fire Emblem or something like that.
Yeah, and I really hope that they. I don't think that it will happen, but I really hope that they take existing characters um, like I don't know how they're called, like worlds, because there's tons of different characters in Fire Emblem, and sometimes like we see them for 1 or 2 games and then they're gone. I would really like to see more games in some of the stories.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Yeah, like you mentioned, we mostly see, maybe one game and then its sequel, but rarely do
Hmm.
we see them come back, like, I don't know, 10 years after or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
yeah, it would be nice to see the story of a character, maybe in their elder years or something like that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know who would I bring back because I was thinking maybe Awakening, but that has such a great ending.
Hmm.
And then Fates, in my opinion, if you made a sequel, you would make a sequel to which version, So
Hmm.
I don't know. I guess that. I guess that if there was a sequel, maybe to Ike's story, or Royce. I don't actually
Yeah.
remember the ending of
No, me neither.
of Radiant Dawn. I've never beaten it actually, so
Mm.
I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if he dies or whatever, but
Yeah, either Ike, Roy, or Marth. I think those characters are very beloved. I think that any of those returning would be very cool. But I don't know if story-wise it's possible or what's up there.
well, the problem with Marth and Roy, I think that um, Marth it appears in 2 or 3 games. I'm not actually 100% on that. But out of those games, the only one that we've gotten from Marth is the first one, Shadow Dragon. So there would be a hole in the story, And Roy's game, we've actually never gotten it in North America. The only one that we got was the one with Lynn and Ellwood, Roy's father. So it would be difficult to do either of those.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, oh, maybe not. And nobody likes Sacred Sword, so that one, it's off the table.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, Ike, I really like Ike in Smash, and from Path of Radiance, I really liked him there. So yeah, maybe have something with him in there, if it's
Yeah.
possible. If not, well, they always find a way to include the classic characters either through DLC or really difficult maps or amiibo, so we
Yeah.
wouldn't be missing them entirely.
Mhm.
Actually, now that I mentioned amiibo, do you see them making any new amiibo for this game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what was the last Fire Emblem game without amiibo. I think it's probably Awakening, right?
I'm sorry, the Skype kind of messed up. Could you repeat that?
Oh yeah, that I don't remember which was the last Fire Emblem without amiibos. I think it's probably Awakening. But even so, they're now getting a Chrome amiibo for the Fire Emblem Warriors. So I think they're loving their Fire Emblem amiibo. So I don't think they're gonna stop now.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, technically, the only Fire Emblem game that has amiibo specifically made for it is Shadows of Valentia, because Fates has amiibo support of previously existing amiibo. So I mean, technically,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I do see them releasing them. Just I wonder what format it will take this time. That's basically it. What will they do this time around? I mean, I was actually surprised by how amiibo work in Shadows of Valentia. I was not expecting it to be so different from Fates or Codename Steam. I was actually expecting the same thing, and what we get is a little bit interesting, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it was because the game is really different from the others. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it has to do with that. Maybe because it's a classic game, they wanted to preserve it more. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I mean, it's still pretty cool, and I hope that they implement as many features as possible in this brand new Fire Emblem. I don't know, anything else that you think that they might be adding?
No.
No. Okay. So why don't we jump to our next games in the lineup?
Sure.
And well, maybe this one wasn't quite announced, but it's been talked
No.
about so much that we think it's almost a given, and that's Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch. For a lot of us, this was a game that they were announcing on E3, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You are the fighting game expert, and certainly the Smash Brothers expert out of us, So why don't you tell us a few things that have been circulating around the internet about Smash Switch?
Yeah, people have been like, when it was not announced for an E3, people were like, "Oh, so are we getting Smash Bros. 5? Maybe are we getting a port?" I really don't think we're getting like Smash 5 because it will be too short of a time for Smash 4. And if we are getting it, it's going to be much more in the future. I really think we are getting a Smash for Switch. I'm gonna call it Smash 4 Deluxe, with like kind of what the deluxe versions are doing, with all the DLC and maybe one or two new characters, maybe grabbing some things that the 3DS version did, some stages. Maybe now that they're like really focusing on the esports scenes, they are watching like the Smash Brothers scene and seeing like, oh, so people like these stages to be legal, so maybe we help them a little bit and add 2 or 3 stages that we think they will use as legal stages. Maybe they even call some Smash Pros like they do in Street Fighter or over at Capcom. Like they call some pros and they're like, so what do you think, guys? Do we make this stages legal? What do we change with these characters? Maybe a patch or something. I think that yeah, I would think that Smash 4 Deluxe is coming, but maybe there was too much games this year to maybe announce it. Maybe it's gonna take more time, so they're holding it off. So I think that for that reason, I think that we're getting a port with a good amount of new characters. I would think like maybe like even 5.
Oh, five. That's actually quite a high number for
Yeah.
a port. Yeah, I mean, everyone is expecting the Ice Climbers, right? Like everyone and their
Yeah.
moms. Like now that they don't have to limit themselves with the 3DS, they could go nuts, So yeah, I really hope that they add a few characters in there. But aside from the Ice Climbers, who do you see them adding?
I hope Wolf also comes back. A lot of people like that character. I think it was a. It's always good to have more villains because Nintendo maybe doesn't have lots of them, and if it does, they're not in Smash. And new characters, I'm pretty sure an Inkling is gonna be there. Smash Splatoon was really big. They got into Mario Kart. They're getting their sequel 1 month from now, I think. So yeah, I think Inkling's gonna be there. I don't think an ARMS character is gonna be there. It's too soon to me, I think. Maybe if it was releasing now, I think maybe it would because ARMS just came out. But now that they didn't say anything, and we think that it's going to be much more in the future, I don't think that an ARMS character is getting in. I would love to see Snake come back, but I really don't think he's coming back. Yeah, those are my predictions, kind of.
Yeah, those are some crazy predictions. In terms of, we're talking third party, we're talking brand new characters from popular games right now. I think that the safest bet out of those that you mentioned are the Inklings.
Yeah.
Like you said, they are everywhere now. They had concerts. They appear in Mario Kart. I mean, they are everywhere. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's at all a crazy thought to see them joining the fight. So I think that maybe Wolf would be an interesting veteran. I think that out of the veterans that are not yet in Smash 4, he's probably the one that most people want.
Yeah.
Aside from the Ice Climbers, because the Ice Climbers were supposed to be cut out of technical issues. So
Yeah.
maybe with the Switch they are almost a given in that sense.
Yeah, to me they are.
But yeah, Wolf is an interesting choice, and honestly, I don't know what to think about Solid Snake because Konami is all over the place now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and Snake was in Smash because Sakurai was a friend of Kojima, and now Kojima hates Konami, and Konami owns Snake, so I really don't think it's possible for him to come back.
Yeah, I don't think so. In fact, I think that if a Konami character is to join Smash, I think that it would be either Bomberman or Simon Belmont, but not Snake,
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, those are the two. And I don't know, do you see them... with the ARMS character, they could do what they did for Corrin or some of the stages in Smash 4 where Smash was used to promote their games, So maybe ARMS could fall into a similar category, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, that's the characters. In terms of stages and modes and whatnot, what do you see them adding? Anything else?
Yeah, stages definitely. As I was saying, maybe from the 3DS games. Modes, I think that Smash Run is called, right, from the 3DS.
Yeah, Smash Run it would be really a good fit for a handheld,
And maybe this time they could do it right, like with everybody being in the same stage, not like separated like it's in the 3DS. That's very weird to me. Maybe this time they could do it right.
Yeah, that would certainly be an improvement over the original Smash Run.
Yeah.
And the stages, I think that it would be cool if they added some of the 3DS stages,
Yeah,
And
like
Magic
the F-Zero
Ant
one,
comes
it's
to
really
to
cool.
mind. Yoshi's
Yeah.
story. So yeah, maybe those could come in HD now,
Yeah.
to the brand new Smash 4 experience. And yeah, I really don't see them adding any brand new stages. How about you?
Brand new stages. Maybe if a Splatoon character is added or a new other character, I do see it. But if not, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know, anything else that you think that they might be bringing to Smash Switch?
No, not really.
Well, I think that's a good way to wrap up the conversation. This has been Paco Treviño from the TVGamers discussing about the Nintendo Switch lineup and some speculation. Today I was joined by Lauro Chapa.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Until next time, bye bye, guys.